What's going on, family? What's going on? What's going down? What's shaking? Welcome to Jonathan Soul Sundays. Sit back and relax. You know what I mean? Do the dishes, clean up the house, jog, whatever it is that you do on a Sunday that you can speak about in polite company. Whatever you do on a Sunday, go ahead and do it and let me play in the background. I'm going to bring you some groovy conversations, some interesting thoughts, usually from people who create the world they want to live in. You know, writers, artists, filmmakers, that type of vibration. So sit back, relax, and enjoy Jonathan Soul Sundays. I got the honor and privilege of introducing a tremendous talent in the comic community in the person of Kelvin Gumbs. How you doing, brother?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Solid. Right on, right on. So I first caught your book, I don't know, was it 3-4 months ago? When did issue 1 for Black Sun first come out?
Issue 1 dropped officially it dropped February 2016.
Okay, February 2016. So I was on the book pretty early, as I recall.
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, I think I just started doing comic book reviews. It was one of the books that kind of inspired me to start doing this stuff. Before I was,
That's awesome.
Yeah, you didn't notice, but before I was, I took a break because before I was doing news and calling people in Egypt and interviewing, different, newsmakers that's like second tier, people that the regular white media wouldn't talk to. And, UFO people and people trying to legalize, get health benefits for prostitutes, the regular stuff. And after a while, man, I was like, you know what I mean? But this comic book stuff is inspiring to me. A couple of reasons. One is because it's black people creating businesses and creating content that they can control.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I mean, there are some people who want to, use it as a portfolio bit to go back on the plantation. You know what I mean? And that's fine. If you want to work for DC and Marvel, I'm not judging you or anything. But I love it when people have a vision for taking their property and say, you know what, I can be DC, I can be Marvel. So with that crazy introduction, let's talk about your beautiful property, Black Sun. Go into it a little bit. Just tell us the world that you're building in Black Sun. Tell us about the protagonist, Lumumba. Is it Yarrow?
Yarrow, exactly.
Yarrow, yeah. So just give us a little bit of that. Go ahead, Kelvin.
Sure. First thing I'd like to say is props to you, Jonathan Soul. Actually, you were one of the first people to really start hyping up the book.
Cool.
Which in turn gave me a lot of inspiration. So because to see your review on it, I was like, wow, someone's reviewing it already. This is awesome. So
solid.
Yeah, right, thanks to you.
Yep.
In regards to the book, Black Sun is you're right. It's a world that I'm building, but it takes a form of a comic book series that's published in books and published as a webcomic on my website. And it basically follows the last group of surviving humans after there's been an alien invasion.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So actually, let me explain that better. We'll rewind that. So Black Sun is a sci-fi comic series about the last group of survivors who fight to reclaim their homeland after a devastating alien invasion. And book number 1 basically gives you that introduction, and you follow the main character, Lumumba Yarrow, as he goes through his struggles in dealing with this presence that's just unknown and overwhelming at the time.
Right. And he's talking about aliens, not the police. I just want that to be clear. Be clear.
He's talking about aliens. There's different layers to the story, and as you read it, you'll be able to take references from real life. But in the book, he's fighting aliens. So yeah, right. It's an overwhelming force that he has to fight against.
Now, the thing, I've read your book 1 and 2 a couple of times, and one thing that is I don't understand. It's beautiful, but I don't understand it. Why in book 1 did you start out with this beautiful little baby floating out in space?
Okay, so the baby floating in space, it's a 3-part series. So there's book 1 and book 2. Book 3 hasn't come out yet. So the baby floating in space is going to be answered once book 3 comes out.
Oh, that's cold, man. That's messed
up.
So
it'll make sense.
Okay, beautiful. Yeah. That's fun. Out my little mystery. So the way that you designed the alien invading force,
yes.
I mean, I'm looking at it now in book 1. Number 1 is epic. Okay, it's epic.
Thank you.
Number 2, the fact that you use a black and white style, I think adds to the drama.
Okay.
You know, some books I see in black and white, I say, oh, I wish they would use at least some spot color. I don't wish that in this book. I think that this kind of lends it, I don't know, like a cinematic kind of vibration. The way you design them, it almost looks like a alien, funkadelic, heavy metal type vibe. I mean, how did you come up with this very intricate, very mechanical, very, I don't know, skeletal kind of design for the alien mothership?
That's a good question. I guess it's from all the stuff that I used to watch as a kid.
You don't have bad dreams, do you?
Oh, I have all kinds of bad dreams.
Okay. This is my therapy. Just to, okay, I got you, man. Hold it together, Kelvin. Hold it together, man. You can do it. You know what I mean?
It all comes out in the books.
Right.
But basically, I wanted something. Okay, I'm a child of the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a cartoon that I used to watch called Robotech.
Oh, man. Are you serious? Yeah, man. I remember. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so Robotech, it was kind of broken in. Well, at least the version that we got over here was broken into 3 different sagas.
Yep.
So the second saga, I think, was the Robotech Masters.
Mm-hmm.
And the Robotech Masters flew in these huge, just impossible design ships. So that is what inspired me. I wanted to do something that just looked really impending and intimidating,
mm-hmm.
but didn't look like a ship that could fly. So, my imagination just went crazy, and I designed this, this weird ship with the face and the smoke billowing out of it,
mm-hmm.
and it's just floating, and it's huge and it's overwhelming. So, yeah, that's kind of where it came from.
Now, it's funny that you mentioned Robotech, because now that you mentioned that, I almost, just correct me if I'm getting this twisted with something out of Transformers, but was there a creature in Robotech called the Triumvirate?
Yeah, that was Robotech Masters, yeah.
Okay, where there was like 3 faces and all this other kind of stuff?
Well, okay, so there was the Triumvirate in Robotech Masters.
Okay.
And then in Transformers, there were the Quintessons that had the faces that rotated. So you might be talking about that.
Okay,
maybe?
Gotcha. Yeah, okay. I think so. But so anyway, long story short, obviously you have different influences. Let's talk about it. So besides Robotech, what are some of your other artistic influences?
Oh man. Other than 80s cartoons, it's hard to remember because there's just so much.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of it comes from cartoons. So, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Thundercats, Silverhawks, all that kind of stuff. Nowadays, I'm mostly influenced by other artists who are doing things that are similar to me. So other artists that I like are The Pack, John Louis Julie.
Yep.
His stuff is spectacular.
Mm-hmm.
Gray Williamson, his stuff is spectacular. Chris Miller from Chris Crazy House. That's the kind of stuff that I get a lot of inspiration from now. The stuff that came before, it's just really a mishmash in my brain, and it's hard for me to pick out certain things. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I hope that answers your question.
No, it does. And when you're the first artist I've spoken with whose primary influences coming into the book was Saturday morning cartoons. And that's very unique. Yeah. Everybody else, they had, it was all comic book related. Sometimes it was the underground comics from the 70s, like Robert Crumb and them. Then other times it was, other comics and stuff. So you're the first one. Now, I think ours is like maybe the last generation to have Saturday morning cartoons. Didn't they phase them out like 5 years ago, something like that?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. I remember waking up early and, seeing, now this is the thing. I didn't know what manga was or anime was. I just remember that Robotech was the buzz. And that's the first Comic-Con I ever went to. And me and my boy from high school, we were standing waiting to see Uhura, Nichelle Nichols. And that's the biggest butt I ever seen on a system in all my life. See, you can't tell but man, the beautiful, chocolate brown, small shoulders, and then bam,
Oh, that's
like,
awesome. That's awesome.
But in the line, they was talking about Robotech, like they was talking about, the economy or immigration or something. I mean, it was that intense. Wow. Yeah, I never, I was like, it's a dope cartoon, but they was heavy into it, man. So So little did we know the anime was going to bloom and influence all of these people.
Yeah.
So when I look at your art style, I told you off mic that I looked at and I said, this brother is in IT. And so I'm trying to figure out what gave me that vibration. I don't know. I just something about it. It just looks very technical. Maybe it was the design of the ships. Maybe it was. I'm assuming you use filters to create your like your evil monster attacker people, right? Are those like
Yeah.
Photoshop filters or something?
Yeah, it's all digital. Like it all takes place in the digital realm. I don't draw it, so I use a 3D program and I model all the characters and the ships and everything in that.
Okay.
And then after that, I take it into Photoshop and I do a whole lot of photo editing. So I put a lot of filters on it, some digital painting, and that's basically my art process.
Okay.
So what you see in the book is the combination of 3D software coupled with Photoshop and just photo manipulation to make it look the way that it does.
Now, some fanboys like myself, we get so into a book that, when we get to the end, it's like, oh shit, how long do I have to wait for the next one? Like, so your first one was like 60 pages or something like that, wasn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. And so, I mean, how long does it take you to finish a page? Just so people can get an idea of the work that goes into these properties.
It takes a while. I actually thought doing it with 3D software would be easier because you don't have to draw.
Right.
But the amount of time that it takes to model everything, because I'm very particular. Like if I don't like it, I'm not putting it out.
Right.
So a page generally takes maybe about a day's worth of work.
Wow.
Yeah. On average, some pages happen really fast, others happen really slow, but on average, I say about a day.
Okay. Wow. So, in the first episode, and I'm not going to give away spoilers or anything. If you guys haven't picked it up, go over to blacksun.com. You can grab issue 1 and issue 2. Can you also get it at peepgamecomics.com? Is that true, Kelvin?
Yeah, actually, it's blacksuncomics.com.
Okay, blacksuncomics.com. Okay.
Yeah. It was at Peep Game, but right now I'm part of Kindle Select on Amazon.
Okay.
And part of the stipulation of that is I can only have it on Amazon.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yep.
So it was on sale at Peep Game, which I really like. Shout outs to Peep Game Comics.
Yep.
So it will be on sale at Peep Game at the end of 3 months from now.
Okay.
But in the meantime, if you want to pick it up, you can go to blacksuncomics.com and just hit the shop link and you'll be able to pick it up.
Fantastic. So we got one, and we got issue 2. What can we expect? Well, let's talk. We already talked about issue 1. Of course, every issue 1 introduces the characters, introduces the world. And then in issue 2, correct me if I'm wrong, but we kind of delve a little bit into the background of the protagonist, which is Lumumba Yarrow. Did I get his name right? Yeah. So we delve into his background, his training, even his psyche a little bit. And so what can we expect in issue number 3?
Well, issue number 3 is going to be a revelation for Lumumba.
Okay.
So time is a prevalent theme in the books, which is kind of why it starts off with the child at the beginning.
Right.
And then jumps into the future and then jumps into the past. So in book number 3, there's going to be more events that happen and a real revelation for Yarrow, which is going to be the turning point for him. And you'll be able to see what he does in response to this alien invasion.
The other character that I found interesting was actually the AI, which is it Lakara? Did I get that right? Lawazi. So can you talk about a little bit about the tech in your world that you've created?
So I wanted to create a world. It was important that I created a science fiction world that was highly technological, that was inhabited by Black folks. That was very important to me because I had never seen that growing up as a kid.
Yep.
So I always liked the idea of artificial intelligence, and I thought it'd be cool to have an artificial intelligence that was kind of like a hologram looking type thing, but took the image of the people who lived on the planet. So yeah, each Yarrow is a special type of warrior called a Gamba within the world of Black Sun. And each Gamba, once they reach a certain level, Obsidian is what the level is called, they're assigned a personal artificial intelligence entity.
Okay.
In this case, Yarrow is assigned Elwazi.
Gotcha.
Elwazi. So that's the artificial intelligence that's joined to him,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a balance. So if it's a male warrior, they'll be partnered with a female artificial intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
If it's a female warrior, they'll be partnered with a male artificial intelligence. So it kind of balances out the warrior so that they can do their job properly.
Gotcha. Now, in most of these books, you know, especially issue 1, issue 2, we kind of get introduced to the hero's journey, you know,
Yes.
and so one thing I felt from issue 2 was that this guy was still like being tested. Like
Yes.
maybe everybody in the higher ups wasn't absolutely sure that he could do the job that he was tasked with. Am I off on that, or?
No, that's completely accurate. He's arrogant. He's
Mhm.
not the nicest person to get along with.
Right.
And actually, it's a part of me. When I was younger, you know, you're 16, 17, you think you know everything.
Right.
No one can tell you anything.
Mhm.
That's Yarrow's character.
Gotcha.
And the people around him know this, especially a Shiri, who
Mhm.
is not really a mentor, but someone who is propping him up, knows this, but can see his future. So
Okay.
that's why she's kind of vouching for him.
Family, I know y'all are digging that groovy interview that we're doing with Kelvin Gumbs, creator, illustrator, publisher, the whole nine of Black Sun Comics over at blacksuncomics.com. So I just want to take a break. I want to introduce you guys to a little segment I like to call Fan Films and Chill. Fan Films and Chill. I like to check out the independent media. I love small companies, small groups, that kind of thing. And so let me give y'all 2 episodes on my YouTube channel, 2 playlists rather. Fan Films and Chill episode 1 has to deal with this web series called The Number. It's really, really groovy. And as a matter of fact, I believe Issa Rae has something to do with it. I'm not sure if she's producer or whatever, but I know she acts in it. So go over to Jonathan Soul, all one word, Jonathan Soul on YouTube, JOHNATHANSOUL. And so my playlist, Fan Films and Chill episode 1, The Number. So this guy and this gal just got engaged. And, you know, they're all snug and everything. And then the girl says, you know, we should probably be transparent with each other. Let's share the number of people that we slept with. Let's write down here. You take a piece of paper, I take a piece. We'll write down all the people that we slept with just so we know. The guy's a little hesitant, but like, okay, you know, because he figured, oh, man. So they do. And all I can tell you is that it's fucking funny from there. Each episode is 5 to 7 minutes. And they're like 9 little segments. I put on a playlist that I run out right after. It's very funny. It's independent media, independent black media, and you guys will enjoy it. So that's Fan Films and Chill episode 1. So episode 2, just in case maybe you're not into the romantic comedy, because that's what it is, romantic comedy / drama. Maybe you like a more traditional, you know, sci-fi head. So Fan Films and Chill episode 2 has 3 Star Wars fan films. Love Star Wars fan films. So the first one y'all may be familiar with is Darth Maul the Apprentice, or Darth Maul Apprentice. Definitely check that out, about 18 minutes or whatever. The second one is the Old Republic Rescue Mission, which is one of my personal favorites. And then Exile episode 1, a Star Wars fan film. That joint has like a kind of surprise ending, very, very groovy. So that's my little offering to you guys. I don't know if you do it Wednesday night or Friday night, whatever you do. But yeah, so instead of Netflix and chill, maybe y'all can support these independent guys and gals and do fan films and chill. All right, love you guys. Let's get back to the interview with Kelvin Gumbs over at blackcomics.com. Let's listen. Gotcha. Let me just go like a little farther afield now.
Sure.
Your book, you talked about Paul Louis Julie. I spoke to him I think last week. You know, he does the pack, and he does this new property coming out with called Johansi.
Yes.
And then other brothers and sisters that are coming out. What do you think about just the proliferation of black comic creators?
It's fantastic. Okay. I love it.
Okay.
I love it. A few years ago, because before I was of the mind,
Mm-hmm.
because everything is dominated so much by the big two
Right.
that sometimes it's hard to think outside of that paradigm
Yep.
for people in general.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went to a comic book store and I looked, and I was like, there are no black characters here.
Yep.
There's none.
Yep.
I was like, this is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I can't be the only black person on the planet who's making comics.
Right.
So I started doing a Google search, and then I came up with all this stuff. A book that really changed me was Black Comics by Damian Duffy and John Jennings.
Okay.
That's highly recommended. But basically, it's a thick book about all these black creators creating black characters.
Wow.
And then I started coming across all this stuff that I'd never heard of, and all of it was just as good, if not better, than anything that came out from the big two.
Yep.
So that was a big inspiration for me.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, to see the explosion is it's nice. I have a son, and
Mm-hmm.
he's probably going to be reading comics too, and I want him to be able to see characters that represent him.
It's funny that you mentioned your boy. I didn't realize how proud the moment was until much later, but I used to read Brother Man with my son. And
Nice.
Brother Man, if you're familiar, you sound like you're familiar when it came out in the
Yes.
90s, real big. And
I got on it late because here in Canada,
Mm-hmm.
it's a bit different. We don't get all the American stuff all the time, but
Right.
yeah, I know what you're talking about with Brother Man. Yeah.
Yeah. And I still got those issues. I gave one to a cousin when he was like 10, and he's, I guess, late 20s, early 30s. He still has that book.
Nice.
So it's important for us to have Black Sun. It's important for us to have the pack. And because I don't know about on the motherland, but out here in the diaspora, in the diaspora out here, man, out in the field, we got to see ourselves, man. And up till
It's so
now,
true.
we've been seeing black characters created by white and Jewish people, which, you know what I mean, is all right, but it's not the best because they filter us through the caricature that's in their mind. You know what I mean? So I look at Black Sun and I see that this AI isn't like Jarvis in Iron Man, where it's just he just talks. And this AI gives a fuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
About Lumumba. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's a little bit more. You know what I mean? It's just not like, it's so that's what I'm noticing about what you guys are doing now. The thing that I'm excited about with the Black comics in particular is the period of time that we're in, because a lot of there was other comics in the 90s besides Brother Man, but unless you bought the book, a lot of times you can't find them.
True.
And so you and the other folk that are creating now, you guys are bringing that digital piece. So we know that 10 years from now, we'll be able to find the books. We know 20 years from now, we'll be able to find the books. That digital piece is important. Now, are we going to be able to access like a printed copy? Because as much as I love my, I gave my iPad to my daughter, so I don't got no shit. But I got to buy an iPad just because of guys like you. But are we going to be able to access a printed copy of Black Sun at some point?
Yeah, actually, it's funny you mentioned that. I'm going to be at, now this event is happening in Toronto, but it's the Black Speculative Arts Movement.
Cool.
Which has a bunch of comic creators and artists doing, Afrofuturism / Black science fiction. But the reason why I'm mentioning it is because I'm going to have a printed copy of the first 2 books there. I did a special run just for that convention.
Wow.
So there'll be a printed copy there. If there's any left over, I'll be selling them online.
Yeah, please do that, man. I doubt if there will be any left over, but in the event that there is, please make them available online.
Yeah, we'll do, absolutely. And then
autographed, if you please.
Okay. We'll do.
It's funny. I never knew what Black speculative blah 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 meant until I interviewed John Jennings, who's like a Sith Lord. He's orchestrating all this stuff in the background, man. All these Comic-Cons and all these books that he's writing. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, it's great. I never knew what the term was either. And then, I found out there was a whole community of people actually through John Jennings.
Yep.
So I was like, yeah, this is great. So yeah, there'll be printed books there. And then I'm going to do another special edition of the first 3 books.
Wow.
As a print version as well.
That's beautiful. So would that be like a trade or something? Like all three books have been one, or what?
Yeah, all three books in one.
Okay.
Because print, like I self-publish and printing is expensive,
Sure.
so it's more cost effective for me to bundle everything up in one and then print that out one time rather than print single issues and then put marketing and promotion into that and then the third one and second one and third one and so on and so forth. So it's easier for me to push, all my money into one book and promote that.
That makes sense. Speaking of bread, what kind of support have you been receiving from the readers, from the community out there?
It's been pretty good. It's
Okay.
been surprisingly good. Now I'm not able to do it full time, just
Okay.
full disclosure.
Right.
But it's been well. It's been well received, and it's a steady increase, which is what I expected. I have a 5-year plan, so everything is going according to plan.
Beautiful.
Let's put it that way. So I'm really happy.
That's the question I always ask for. What's if you can share a little bit of your 5-year plan? What do you expect from yourself and this property going forward?
Well, this is something that I created because the universe is expansive enough that I can tell every kind of story that I want. So I'm going to be doing this for, until I'm dead. 5 years from now, well, actually 4 years from now, I would like to be doing this full time. So it's a matter of, gaining multiple streams of income, because it's not just from the books, it's from affiliate marketing and partnerships and that sort of thing as well. As Black creators, you need to kind of think outside of the box.
Okay.
Because people might not like what I'm going to say, but typically blurs, Black nerds don't really support independent creators like us. At least that's been my experience. Most of the people who are interested in what I do are pretty much new to comics. Right. And they're just like, oh, this is cool. I didn't know you could have Black people in a science fiction book.
Okay,
and
wait. Nick, now you didn't poke something. You poked something. You poked it.
Okay.
So explain that blurred thing. I get the Black nerds is a cute, I get it. But you're saying that they're not supporting you like that, and that you are getting newcomers to comics. Explain that a little bit.
Yeah. So this is generally speaking, and this is just from my subjective experience.
Sure.
But I thought the blurred community would be the ones to support most, because they're the ones complaining about, there's not enough Black heroes, there's not enough Black representation.
Well, they held hostage in Wakanda.
That's what I was just gonna say. All they care about is Black Panther. And Black Panther is cool.
Ain't that about
Black
a bitch?
Panther? I know Black Panther is cool. That's great. But now here's something that's created by Black folks for other Black folks.
Right.
That is, it's better. You should want that.
Yep.
But they don't. So I find that it's actually someone else is saying this too. Wayne Riley from All Knights. He's out of the UK, but he makes comics too. Really great ones. He's saying the same thing too. You gotta, Black creators need to kind of ignore that audience and look for other folks outside. That's where you're going to get most of your support from. So as creators, Black creators, we need to kind of think outside of the box in order to make our money.
Now, when you say outside of the box, you're not going to change, or do you see it as part of your 5-year plan to change your style, your content, your emphasis, to make it more appealing to white folks, or explain?
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not.
Because that's your edge. That's your advantage.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Nobody can tell your story like you. You can get some people to write for Dave Chappelle. You can get some people to write for the Boondocks, but they can't write Black Sun.
No, exactly. You're in my head. That's exactly it. Some people would see it as a disadvantage, but I see it as an advantage, because there's a market out there that's screaming for content that speaks to them.
Yep.
And no one's providing it except for independent creators like me.
Yep.
So, that's a niche that needs to be marketed to. And that audience needs to be built. It's a building process. It's not easy, but it needs to be done, and it can be done, and people are doing it.
Yep. People like yourself. So
Yes.
we're about to wrap up, man. Is there anything that I forgot to ask you, Kelvin? Any message you want to give to the fellow creators out there? Any message you want to give to the blurs who've you just slapped in the face? Anybody? And I'm with you, man. I held them for you while you slapped them. And is there any message that you want to share?
I think the main message that I would like to share is you can do this too.
Okay.
Don't think, if you have an idea, like we live in a day and an age where everything is available to you. So the only thing that's stopping you from doing anything is you.
Yep.
So if you have a story to tell, go out and tell it. You know, I can't draw. I'm still making comics. There's a way to do it. So that'd be my advice. Go out and get your stories done if that's what you want to do.
Beautiful, beautiful. Where can they find you on the web, and where can they find you on social media?
I'm on the web at blacksuncomics.com. I'm on YouTube at blacksuncomics.com too. On YouTube, I do tutorial videos on how I create my art. So if you're curious, you can check it out.
Wonderful.
I'm on Twitter. I'm on Pinterest and Facebook. Yeah, the Facebook page too. So I'm there. I'm all over.
Fantastic. Hey, family. I hope y'all enjoyed that episode of Jonathan Soul Sundays. We'll post a brand new episode next Sunday. Y'all will dig it. You can set yourself a little reminder or whatever it is you do. But if you follow me on social media, you'll be able to see it posted. Speaking of social media, you can find me on Tumblr, Twitter, and YouTube. Jonathan Soul, JohnAthanSoul on Tumblr, Twitter, YouTube, and coming soon to Facebook and iTunes. And if I made you smile, if I made you think a little bit, if I got the gears turning, be kind enough to support a brother. Go over to Amazon.com and pick up my ebook, my sci-fi novel, Malcolm Mars. Malcolm like the prophet, Mars like the planet. Three brothers take their families to Mars to build a new life for themselves in a homemade starship. There's intense stuff, thriller kind of vibration. You know what I mean? There's some politics in there. We bounce from Earth to Mars to Palestine, different other places. There's some, alien stuff happening over there, and then it's everything I wanted to see in a novel that I didn't see in that kind of combination. I put in that novel, so y'all will definitely enjoy it. It's an immersive experience, and so go over to Amazon.com. Look up Jonathan Soul on there, or you can just type in Malcolm Mars by Jonathan Soul, and then it'll pop right up. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you in advance. God bless you. The ancestors bless you. But yeah, family, hope all your dreams come true. Peace.